Now back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Gaston's White River Resort, and Barton Power Sports.
And welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. Of course, you can tell by this charming voice, this is not Larry Ray. I'm Dave Gabbard, TWRA Information Coordinator here in Region 1 for West Tennessee, or like I like to call myself, the Minister of Propaganda
yeah.
for Region 1. Got my brother Darrell, sitting over across from me, Mr. Gene Smith, hunter education guru, down here in Chattanooga. We've let Larry kind of slip away from the studio. He's not hunting. You know, I did tell him when he calls in, he's going to call in at the top of the hour. Larry's attending the Tennessee Outdoor Writers Association Conference in Pickwick at Pickwick Landing State Park. And I told him he didn't have to whisper.
That's
when
right.
He, called, you know,
he may forget, yeah.
Usually when he calls in, he might want to whisper so loud. You know, he's just used to being, when he's away from the studio, of trying to, want to whisper, you know. But Larry's going to join us at the top of the hour. And so we've got, it's May the 2nd, and beautiful, beautiful day.
Yes, it is.
I was looking at the extended forecast, for this week. I don't think they're calling for any, maybe chance of showers again until next Thursday, but we was talking earlier in the show, going to have a bumper crop of Mayflowers because we sure had the April showers. And and there's a lot of what Ron was talking to Ron Branham in the last section, over at Gaston's White River Resort, and he's talking about all the birds and stuff, and I have a lot of bird feeders, around the house. So and right now all the different species coming through, and
we're on the Mississippi Flyway,
one of the unique birds that show up right now coming through is called a rose-breasted grosbeak.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful bird, black and white, and it's got a nice red patch on its chest. But it tickles me because they'll be out at the feeders, and of course, with my feeders out, I've got to feed the squirrels too.
Right.
And it's hilarious to watch these squirrels, work these feeders. And but what surprises me, the grosbeaks, they don't take no crap off the squirrels on the feeders. They'll fly up there and knock the squirrel off the feeder. The feed, it's like, hey, I'm migrating through. It's been a long trip, I need something to eat, so get off the feeder. But a lot of hummingbirds right now.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing they find my yard, and they're so tiny coming back.
And my birds, of course, they showed up about 3 weeks ago, and they hit the feeders, with a vengeance. I always put one feeder out, just to, when I think they're about the time.
Right.
I kind of gauge it. I know, some friends of ours down in, north part of Georgia and Alabama, and be talking with them, and I'll ask them, I say, you got your hummingbirds yet? Say, yeah, we got them today. So I know about a week later.
They'll be up here.
Yeah. And so I put one feeder out, and they'll start showing up. The scouts kind of start showing up and start hitting the feeders. And then it's like, I've got 3 out, that they're hitting kind of pretty heavy, but they're fitting a lot of natural flowers fixing to start blooming. So they'll kind of leave the feeders for a little bit. And, but then what's amazing me, throughout the summer, I keep adding feeders till they're about the middle of August when they get ready to migrate back out.
Yeah.
I'll have about, 10 big feeders up, and they will drain them every day.
Oh, it's amazing. My wife makes the sugar water herself.
Yeah. And
we got 6 feeders out, and they go through that pretty quick.
Yeah. They will drain those feeders like mine. Like I said, in August, I got 11 big feeders out.
You have trouble with ants? We have ants.
No, not really. And the most impressive thing I ever seen was Skip Simonson, one of our former commissioners, lives up in Lauderdale County, up there by Fort Pillow, out there on the bluff. And I was up there talking with him one day, and he puts out like 15 to 20 big. He makes the feeders out of the 2-liter bottles.
Oh yeah.
And he has so many hummingbirds that when they get ready to migrate, they will drain them every day.
Wow.
he said he was buying sugar at Walmart, and they thought he was making whiskey. You know, he was buying so much sugar. But you know, if you want to put a hummingbird feeder up, you know, like you said, you can mix up your own.
Yeah, I think it's 4 to 1.
Yeah, it's 4 to 1. Yeah. For every 4 cups of water, put 1 cup of sugar.
Right.
You know, so and for 8 cups of water, 2 cups of sugar. It's just 4 to 1.
Boil it.
Yeah, get the water hot and boil it, and just dissolve the sugar in it and let it cool down. And during this time of year, if you know, I don't fill the feeders all the way completely up because with like kind of Ron said, with a lot of pollen and spores in the air, that sugar water mixture, of course, will ferment kind of quick, and you see mold in it. You know,
right? Oh yeah, you got to keep them clean.
You know, and that's not good for the birds. So, but today, you know, is open mic Saturday. So if you got a question or got a story, got a comment, you know, give us a call here at
how about us give something away?
274-7979 or 800-759-6279. You got something. You got to see.
Yeah,
neat.
I got a neat thing. I was at Bayless Greenhouse a couple of weeks ago. Well, last week actually. And I bought me some impatiens because I got too much shade in my yard. And I talked to the young man there, which I didn't know. I knew his father and his uncle. It's Terry Nance out at Bayless Greenhouse. And he gave us a $25 gift certificate. So anybody wants to win that $25 gift certificate at Bayless Greenhouse, what you do, I'll take your name and give it to him to make sure nobody else shows up and takes your spot.
So if you know, give us a call here. You know, if you'd like a $25, gift certificate to Bayless Greenhouses out there, courtesy of Mr. Terry Nance and Mr. Gene Smith here.
Yeah, you get 2 flats of flowers with $25.
Yeah, and it's time to put those annuals out and everything. So, I was noticing, in some of my wife's, flower gardens, the different flowers coming up, the butterfly weeds coming up. It'll be blooming next month.
Yeah, you have good luck with that. I don't.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe it's because we, neglect it a lot. But it's something. But other than that, just a lot of stuff going on in May.
Yeah, I always tell people if you can't afford a pet, you can always feed the birds or the bees and butterflies with your flowers and planters and feeders.
But like I said, it's interesting to see the different species of birds that show up.
It's amazing.
Because I maybe have more because I live kind of in the woods.
Right. And the goldfinch is another one. You feed them thistle. I don't know how they find my feeder with thistle in it, but they do. I guess they got scouts coming out.
And I have a lot of thistle feeders up. You use the thistle socks, to put them in, and they just clinging to the side, and see all kinds of, I've got a lot of little indigo buntings right now coming through.
They're beautiful, yeah.
And a lot of LBJs. In the birding world, for people that don't know what a LBJ is, that's a little brown job.
Yeah. We have sparrows. We cover it with sparrows.
But all kinds of the little, there's several different species of sparrow,
Well, it's neat to get a book and you figure out which one's which, because there's a bunch of different sparrows. The little heads are different shapes and colors.
Right, and everything. So a lot of little. So it's cheap entertainment. Put up a bird feeder and watch it. So
they got one you can stick on your window and watch the birds feed right close to your window. It has a little mirror in there where they can't see you.
And so also, right now in May, for the hunters, if you might be thinking about your wildlife food plots.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, you can go to our website. We have a section on there, that covers a lot of that. In fact, if you're close to the regional office in Jackson and want to stop by, we have, during this time of year,
seeds.
Bags.
Oh, yeah.
Small bags of annual food mixture that you could put food plots out. And we limit it 4 to, per person that comes in. But one bag will plant up to a quarter acre.
All right.
So, 4 bags will plant 1 acre, and that's a...
Yeah, you don't have to put out corn or nothing to try to cheat. all you do is pull a food plot out.
Yeah, food plot does, and this food plot mixture will have a mixture of like German brown top millet, milo, buckwheat, cowpeas, it's just a all around mixture that deer,
like
turkey, small game, that they will like to eat and enjoy. And but
it gives you something to do on the off season.
Yeah.
Get it
and right
set
now
up.
I usually plant mine. You can plant this stuff on up into first part of July.
Right.
And I usually plant my food plots and stuff towards the end of June. For me, they just kind of do better, and they, because this time of year we're fixing to go in. If you put your food plots out, and if you have food plots, a mixture of food plots, you want spring food plots, you want summer food plots, you want fall, because especially the deer, we're moving into a section, time of year that they're really going to be, hitting food plots because, number one, you've got the bucks
putting on antlers.
That's putting on antlers that's needing the nutrition. And then you have the does that will be fawning.
Right, be nursing.
And they have to have the nutrition to produce the milk.
It's a very important time.
Yeah, and so it's a, if you have a, lease or on your farm, if you have food plots out there, put them out there and, they will.
Not only deer, the turkeys and rabbits.
Turkeys, quail,
all
rabbits, all kinds of, small game and big game will utilize these, food plots. So, but like I said, if you, buy the, regional office in Jackson coming through, stop out there. We're located at Lake Graham, east of Jackson out there, and pick you up, a few bags of that food plot mixture.
Of course, if you're real friendly to an officer, maybe he'll bring you some. I don't know.
Yeah, we give some officers some. So if you see a local officer, maybe ask him if he's got some left.
Yeah.
And okay, well, I hear music, and I guess Brian, you never get a hold of Brian.
I tried, couldn't get him.
Okay, well, will y'all get up?
Get another cup.
Get another cup of coffee and come on back and join us with Outdoors with Larry Ray.